Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. Take a second here to let everyone hop on. So I'm going to be doing this every Wednesday just to help spread this information out really easily. But as always, feel free to contact me, personal message me, text me if you have my number. But I've just been getting a lot of questions about, Jake, what's going on in the real estate market? What does this mean for the future? Is it the right time to buy or sell? So we're going to be talking about all those kind of issues here on Wednesday Wisdom. So today we're just going to focus on the three main topics. If I'm a seller, what does it mean in the market right now with everything that's going on? If I'm a buyer, and for mortgages for both of those, whether it's refinancing or getting your first mortgage, right? We're going to talk about how to not only win, but leverage this coronavirus as actually an opportunity to come out thriving in the very end. So we'll wait here for a second, let some people hop on. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I'm at work, but I know a lot of you are probably at home. So enjoy that time sitting on the couch. I hope you're using it as an opportunity to learn, grow, get some of the task list done that you haven't done yet. So make it productive. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. So let's start with sellers, right? If you're a seller, you're saying, oh my gosh, Jake, the market is freaking out. Crash market is diving. All the value in my home is going to leave, right? So the thing is, real estate is not an actual direct correlation to the stock market. So you have to think about real estate kind of like an investment, okay, in some respect. And so we've actually been tracking data in the real estate market since 1940. And so if we take a look at just some of that data, we actually recognize that there's some sort of trend that's been going on. And so if you know what a bell curve is, I'll show you here, right here, right? Actually, let's spin that around to make it a little bit easier. So real estate has peaks and it has valleys, right? So a couple months ago, right, February, we were at this really high point in real estate, okay? And so homes were increasing in value month on month. In February, we saw like 14% increase in value in the Phoenix metropolitan area. It was just getting out of hand. And that was caused actually by two problems. One, low inventory. There just weren't enough homes on the market. And then two, we had a ton of buyers. We had more buyers than we had available inventory. And in fact, the average at the beginning of March was 0.01% inventory for the whole valley. So it was very low, and we were definitely at risk of running out of homes available to purchase. So right now, we're coming off of this high. All right, we're not down here. We're not low, right? We're not crashing. Think about it like a roller coaster, when you kind of go over the hump and there's that point where everything's about to go down, but there's like a slight pause and nothing's really moving yet. This is where we are right now in March. This is February. Okay, so as a seller, right, what have you always been taught, right? Buy high or sell high, buy low, right? So we're still at this point, right, this high point, where it's the perfect opportunity to still sell. So that fear that, oh my gosh, Jake, I'm going to lose all the equity in my home, I can't sell it right now. Absolutely, you can, because we're still in this point. And at the end of the day, right, you say you list your home on the market and you don't get a single offer that you don't like. That's okay. You just don't sell your home. It's really that simple. But say you do list your home in the market. Now an opportunity opens up. Okay, there are still a ton of buyers who are wanting to purchase homes. So if you have this opportunity available, right, and then a buyer comes along and says, hey, I still want to buy your home. We're still in that peak season right now for selling homes. Now you actually have the opportunity to execute on that because you went ahead and listed your home for sale. So don't miss out on this opportunity if you are a seller. It's not going to last very long. We foresee actually in April that changing. It's going to drop a little bit more. It's not going to be the most optimal time for sellers. So if you're interested in selling, go ahead, get in contact with me. Get in contact with a real estate agent. Get your home listed right now, because you're going to miss out on this opportunity. Financially, you want as much equity in that home as possible when you sell it, right? And then this is the other thing about if you're a seller. The same market that you sell in is the same market that you are going to buy in, right? So say I have my home listed here, I sell it, okay? By the time I get to the point where I'm buying a home, we might be somewhere around here in April. Okay, we're just guesstimating. So that means I'm going to buy lower than I just sold, okay? So I'm buying a new home for less, so that means towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year, right, it's going to come back up because it's cyclical, okay? Real estate has this trend that goes on every year. Traditionally, it's been 10 years that we've seen this trend, but with technology, this has moved to months, okay? So technology has kind of sped up economics. And so in a few months, you'll be able to have all that equity, right, gained back in your new home purchase as a seller. So typically we see offers over the year about 3% less than listing price. So if you list here, right, you're going to get an offer about 3% on average most years. Over the last 30 days, we're seeing that at about 5%. Okay, but if you wait until April, if we follow this trend, you're going to see an 8% less in the amount of offers. Okay, so don't wait until April. Be smart. For buyers, right? Again, think about your home as an investment, okay? Investments grow, investments shrink, but at the end of the day, that investment is meant to yield you some sort of profit. And same thing, peaks and valleys. So if you're a buyer, the time to start looking is now, right? This is purchase, okay? Home purchases take some time, right? You got to look, you got to make offers, there's escrow, okay? So if you are a buyer, start right now. Get in contact with me, get in contact with a real estate agent. You need to start looking so that by the time, right, you make this offer, it's accepted, you go through escrow, you're buying when it's a little bit lower. Because, right, what goes down, as we see in the data, it must absolutely come back up. So it's going to come up. So typically here in Maricopa, we see about 8% year-on-year annual increase in the value of your home. And that comparison, in the United States, they only see about 2%. So in the Valley, really the reason is, right, we have all these buyers coming in. We have 500 families per day we've seen over this last year coming in. So home values are going to keep increasing. So if you want to buy, right now is the perfect time to buy. You're only going to increase the value in the home and your return on your investment. So for mortgage rates, so this is the other question I get. Jake, I heard that the market's going to crash. The Fed dropped the rate to 0%. So it's kind of a multifaceted piece here for mortgage interest rates. So a couple weeks ago, the Fed had dropped the rate to 2.5, and that was really great, right? Everyone was excited. Lenders dropped their rates, so people were refinancing their homes like crazy. And so that posed a little bit of an issue. Think about it like the freeway, right? When everyone gets on the freeway at rush hour, it bottlenecks, right? And then it slows down. So that's kind of where we are right now with mortgages and lenders. All the lenders could not handle the insane amount of applications they were receiving. So we saw interest rates bump a little bit. So what the Federal Reserve did, because they want to stimulate the company, they dropped the rates again, and they dropped the interest rate to 0%. And you're like, okay, but how does that relate? How does that relate to lenders? So basically, when your lender needs money, they go to the Federal Reserve and they borrow money. Okay? So the rate that the Federal Interest Bank sets is the rate that they borrow money at, how much they have to pay back on top of what they borrowed. So it was at 2.5. Right now it's at 0. So basically the banks, your lenders, get to borrow money from the Federal Reserve and then give it to you, and they only have to pay back only what they borrow. They don't have to pay interest on it. So that means that they have an opportunity now to drop the interest rate on what they're offering you. Now, kind of where we are right now is we're still in that bottleneck issue. Lenders had so many applications, they haven't gotten through all of them. It's going to take a couple of weeks for them to get through all those applications. But as soon as they do, as long as the Fed keeps that rate really low, it may not be 0, maybe 1%, maybe back to 2.5, it could be 2%. I don't know. We'll see at that point in a few weeks. But as long as the Fed keeps that rate really low to stimulate the economy, right? Interest rates on mortgages, whether it's new buyers, new mortgages, refinances, are going to be really, really great. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep everyone updated on that so that you know what's going on. And then the other thing I just wanted to say, as someone who may be a homeowner, actually two things. So if you're a homeowner right now and you have a lot of equity in your home, and say you want to keep your home, you're not interested in selling it, but you're like, well, how do I leverage this? How do I leverage what's going on right now as an opportunity, right, to prepare for the future or come out winning, right, come out thriving? So if you have a ton of equity in your home, right now would be a great time to think about refinancing, because what you could do is you could pull some of that equity out of your home, right? You could make an investment in investment property, whether it's like a condo or a small home, and then you could use that property as an income property. You could rent it, and that provides you from some passive income, right? So especially in times like this, when income may decrease depending on what market you're in, what field you're working in for your career, you could have passive income through rents. And the other thing for buyers I wanted to mention in regard to mortgages, right? A lot of people are afraid to, negotiate or offer more because they're like, Jake, $10,000, right? That's a big difference. Well, let me give you some perspective. Right now, interest rates are around 3%. So say a home was listed at 200 and you got into a bidding war and you needed to offer 210, right? At 3%, that's only going to be about a $45 different per month. Okay, so think about it in that perspective, right? How often do you spend $45? Every day, all the time, right? Food, water, gas, eating out, whatever. So just keep that in mind as a buyer. If you do need to negotiate prices on homes, right, go ahead and make that $10,000 adjustment so that you can win the home. Because, as I said, there's a shortage of a home. Right now, there are more home buyers than there are homes available on the market. This morning, there were about 8,000 active listings. So feel free to negotiate. If you're going to, lose a home over $45, you might need to rethink your negotiation tactics. But I just wanted to share some of this information with all of you this morning. Again, if you have any questions, you just want to sit down and talk, hey, let's grab coffee, message me. We'll figure something out. But every Wednesday, I'm going to be doing this Wednesday Wisdom to just give people some insight on what's going on in the market and how they can win, how they can thrive once kind of we get through the bottom the housing market, and then how we can thrive as it comes back up to the top. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Make it great. Make this a productive time. Leverage this as an opportunity to get stuff done that you haven't gotten done, whether that's marketing, doing stuff with your family, reading that book, getting those chores done around the house. So hope you have a fantastic day. Blessings to everyone. God bless.